Sup, fam?
What is up? What is up, fam? It's your boys. We're back. Episode 9, round 9 of the HOP. Here we are, back again. Steven, how are we doing?
Doing great. Excited. Returning to the East Coast today. We are drinking Sixpoint Brewing out of Brooklyn, New York. One of my favorite New York breweries. We're going to be sampling two of their OGs, their original beers. Some of their year-round offerings you can get almost anywhere. It's going to be dope.
Jay-Z would be very excited. I know he's going to be listening to this episode. I emailed him earlier. We're very excited to get this one on the way.
Hey, Gabe.
Hey, Steven.
Let's grab a drink. Oh yeah, ready to do some drinking?
Sixpoint coming in clutch. They, like we said, they are one of our favorite breweries. They've got just some great brews that, it's just like, all right, we need beer for the weekend. Like, all right, Sixpoint is always reliable.
They also have an awesome brand, just like all around. They're just like a really cool brewery. They have a really cool brewing philosophy, the branding, the imagery on their cans, like everything about them is just like really wacky and weird.
We'll get into those. We'll get into that a little bit later as we dive into the brewery, talk about all the great things going on with it. But before we do that, I mean, I don't know. How was your day, Steven? What's going on in LA?
What's going on in LA?
Is it still sunny?
It is always sunny. And the episode drops on the 27th of February. So you know what happens on the 27th of February.
Hell yeah, we going down to the store. We getting manicures and pedicures. Am I right, Mike Breen? Tell them how you feel.
I'm not playing Mike Breen for that.
Yeah, you probably
should be ashamed of
yourself. That was just the first thing that came to my head. What's going on February 27th?
Tonight, Othello opens at the University of Southern California, and I am so excited about it. Because we've been working on this a long time. It is a fucking awesome production directed by Kate Burton, who's amazing. She's
okay, all right, Kate. Okay,
but she's also been just amazing to work with, and I'm so excited to open this show playing a dream role of mine, certainly one of the great Shakespearean roles with this class of amazing people that I get to work with. So,
second tree to the left. Steven's on stage for a total of 5 minutes. But hey, you know what? Give him his time. Let's all clap it up for Steven in his role. Kidding, totally kidding. Steven, tell him who you really are.
I'm playing Iago in Othello, and I try not to be one to. It's not about bragging or anything about that. Like that is just. I'm excited to work with this cohort of people that I spend literally every day, all day, every day with. The 9 of us. We're a really tight-knit group, and I think this is some of the best work we've done since I've been here, and I'm excited to show it to Los Angeles and whoever comes out, so I'm pumped about it. Today's a big day, so...
I'm excited for someone to record it on their phone and post it on YouTube, so I can't wait to see it either.
Obviously, that's going to happen. We're going to do things a little differently than we normally do up top here, yes. Gabe. Want to tell the people what that's about?
I do indeed. Today, last episode, we mentioned how we are not professors, and we stick to that theory. We are not professors, but we are going to do a little bit of teaching today in this episode. There's a lot of news and notes going on, but we wanted to kind of change things up. Today, we are going to give you basically a play-by-play on how to taste your beer. It's very different than other drinks. There is a certain way to do it if you want to know what you're drinking, the flavors, and you really want to get a good sense of what is going down. I mean, you can rely on us. We've done a little bit of research, and we're going to teach you guys the best way to really experience beer and definitely teach some things, because a lot of people don't know a lot about beer, and it's more than just the beer taste. I mean, if you really know what you're doing, you will taste other things.
we want to pull the curtain back a little bit on what we do here, because there is sort of there's not a formula to it per se, but there's certain things that that beer judges, at every level look for when judging a beer. We certainly do them inherently on the show. You've heard us do them by now. But we just wanted to peel the curtain back on that a little bit and explain, some of the things that we're looking at, why we're looking at them, and maybe give you some tips and tricks for how to experience a little bit more out of your beer in your day-to-day drinking.
And it's very simple. All you need is a face and a sense of smell and taste, and you're pretty much good.
If you don't have a face, you can't taste your beer.
If you don't have a face, you need to get that checked out. You need to go see someone. You need to go talk to somebody, because we can't really help with that. But if you do have a face, listen up. When tasting beer, basically relying on 4 essential things: your eyes, your nose, your tongue, and your nose again. Eyes basically to see the color of the beer. And the color of the beer, we'll mention this a little bit later, but it gives us info about the malts and the hops that are used for the beer. Your nose, essentially what it always does, to sniff, give us a wave of aromas. It's the first introductory to the flavor of the beer and what you're drinking. If you've got something different, like a couple of weeks ago, we did the Left Hand Milk Stout. And when you get hit with that flavor and that smell, that's going to take you to a different place other than kind of like what we're drinking today. Your tongue and your mouth, basically, they say, drinking wine and drinking beer is very different. It has a lot of things that are similar, though, like swishing the beer around, getting the full mouth feel, just kind of experiencing what that's about. And then your nose again. We basically to take what we call a retronasal sniff, which is basically exhaling after you take this sip, and it's basically a rush of flavor that's hitting the nose and the mouth to really emphasize the flavor on your palate, and it's really cool thing to do. Eyes, nose, tongue, nose again. Pretty simple.
The primary thing that we taste with is our nose, so you can't discount the importance of aroma when it comes to beer, not only in smelling the beer initially, but also taking the sip, and then, like Gabe said, that retronasal sniff, being able to get the aromas through the back of your nose rather than through the front. That makes a big difference in getting a full-bodied experience of the beer. And then when it comes to your tongue, the reason we kind of swish it around is because different areas of your tongue are sensitized differently to different flavors. The 5 major flavors being sweet, salty, umami, which is savory, sour, and bitter.
I love, and the umami factor of savory is like a recent development, pretty much. It's been logged that before it was just the 4, and I don't know how recently, but it's pretty recently that they introduced umami into. It's
always kind of been there, but it's literally like within the last 5 or 10 years that it was kind of genetically proven that umami is a flavor that we have.
And I just love the name umami.
So what goes into a beer flavor profile? Obviously aroma, we've been talking about it. What smell do you get off the beer? These are the beer flavor profiles as determined by the Beer Judge Certificate Program, which provides a consistent method to evaluate beers. So when you're looking at beer judging websites like Beer Advocate and stuff like that, you'll see any of the users posting. They'll always kind of be posting in this kind of order of these 5 things. They're looking at aroma. What smells do you get off the beer? Is it malty? Is it hoppy? Do you get any other aromas come to you? Anything evoked by the smell of the beer? Number 2 is obviously flavor. What does your tongue perceive out of those 5 flavors? Sweet, salty, umami, sour, and bitter. The
aftertaste also plays a huge factor in all of
that. Number 3, head retention, appearance, head retention, clarity, and color. The head retention matters because it helps determine the freshness of the beer, the age of the beer, different things like that. You don't want the beer to be overly foamy. You also don't want it to have no head at all. You want a decent head on there, and you want it to kind of stick around. Clarity, is it clear or hazy? And then, of course, the color, the SRM chart that we always talk about.
And if you are colorblind, our thoughts and prayers are with you.
Yeah, is your beer
But you
green?
don't need to see color to know if a beer is good or not. So, that's fine. Still join us.
Number 4, mouthfeel. Is it light-bodied or full in the mouth? Does it have a high or low carbonation? Is it thick? Is it sticky? Is it creamy? Is it crisp, refreshing, effervescent? All of these different things. How does it feel in your mouth? A Guinness has a very thick, creamy mouthfeel, and it would be super weird if a Bud Light had that same mouthfeel, right? They have two completely different mouthfeels because they're different kinds of beer.
It just doesn't work.
And then number 5, just overall impression. You like it or not?
You like it or not?
What you think?
And I mean, at the end of the day, that's kind of like what the main focus is. I mean, it's up to you, and everyone's got different taste buds and likes different things. And so, don't be afraid to, stand out and say, hey, I really like this beer. I've said it before on the show. I'm not a big sour guy. I have nothing against sours, and I'll drink them. I drank one last week, but it's not my go-to, and that's just me, and that's okay.
So just think of it in terms of, your 5 senses. What do you see? What do you smell? What do you taste? What do you feel in your mouth? You don't have to listen to the beer. We can leave
and
that
a great trick
out.
that I learned that I think I'm going to start doing, at least for this show until we need to pour more. For smell, they say you should only fill the glass with about 2 to 3 ounces of beer so the rest of the glass can fill up with the aroma and it'll bring out more flavor. I actually learned that. I didn't really know that was kind of I mean, I guess you kind of know, but like I'm just the classic. I fill it to as high as it can go and then I smell it. But I guess the lower there, it's like a tunnel. The glass is a tunnel that pushes the aroma up. So it's
that's why we like to taste beers out of these tulip glasses, wine glasses, glasses that have some volume to them too. Because like wine, what you really want to do is you want to dig your nose into that glass. You want to really get the fuck in there, and you want to let those aromas waft over you. So don't just smell your beer with like holding it like, 6 inches from your face and just try to smell it. Like, no, dig in, dive into that beer.
So how do you taste a beer? First things first, look at the bottle.
You should tell me, Gabe.
I should tell you, and I'm going to.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Let me get my pencil out.
Oh my God. Basically, look at the bottle. Some beers, like especially the New England hazy IPAs, they have a little bit of sediment at the bottom, and I know people sometimes think like, oh, there's something in my beer. This is a bad beer. No, it's actually a good sign when there's a little bit left over. I know it's a little different, but that's kind of just the way it is. It is. That is a good sign. Too much sediment, that's the bad sign. That's when you realize the beer might have gone bad or something went wrong. Another thing to look for, another thing that I learned, look at the fill level of the neck of the bottle if the beer comes in a bottle. If it's too high, there might be low carbonation. If there's too low, there might be oxidation. All these little things really play a factor in how the beer tastes, smell, all of those things. So it's just something to look out for. I would argue, correct me if I'm wrong, I would argue that you only really need to examine the bottle fully when there's like a date on it and you're trying to decide if it's good or not. I mean, obviously you want to look at it always, but I mean, if it says like this was bottled in 2016, that's when you should really be like, all right, let me take a look, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think you want to look whether it's a bottle or a can. We look at dates. Dates are important. We look at. I'm not a big. Some people are like they will not drink the beer if it's not canned 30 days ago. Like I don't.
Yeah, that's.
I can't be that excessive about it, but dates do matter. So you want to look at the can or the bottle and just basically look for anything out of place. I mean, most of the time this isn't going to be an issue. I've never encountered a beer bottle that was like not filled high enough and I drank it and it was like
right. Yeah, same. So it's something to look out for. It's not something to worry about.
Yes.
The pour, the classic tilt glass pour along the side of the glass to get that nice full-bodied effect for it to spread out in the glass. You want kind of a nice head of foam. It helps release more aroma and provides more flavors. Some people think there's the argument of too much foam, too much head, or too little head of the beer. I mean, as long as you have like a little bit to go with, I mean, you're good to go. And like I said, more flavors, more aroma when you want to sniff the beer. Which brings us to our next point. Sniff, sniff, Steven.
Sniff, sniff.
Like we said earlier, you want to get your nose deep in the glass and you want to take quick sniffs. Long sniffs actually aren't the best when it comes to beer. You want to expand the palate a little bit, and those quick bursts are going to give you, they're going to hit you harder as opposed to like, taking the snort route and just like really inhaling hard. You definitely don't inhale the beer through your nose.
The snort route.
Don't do the snort route.
Just imagining someone just snorting their beer.
I mean, listen.
That's hilarious. Yeah, the quick sniffs, just like basically don't oversaturate your nose. You only have like 3 or 4 smells of the beer before you're oversaturated and you get used to tasting it.
Yeah.
So quick sniffs, keep it light and make the most out of it. And, what are you smelling off the beer? Are you reminded of anything? Does it bring back a memory? Does it bring back a favorite food or something, or a place you were at, or something like that? It's all subjective. What are you getting?
And what you can do is you can pretend the beer is wine for one hot second and give it a little swirl. It actually does help. People think it's only for wine. No, it's for beer too.
It releases the aromas through the glass.
Moving on, look, then sip. You want to look at the clarity of the beer, the color, the head, all of that fun stuff. And then you want to take a nice little sip. Let the beer rest on your tongue for a second. Is it smooth? Is it crisp? Is it bitter? Is it harsh? Swishing around in your mouth a little bit. I don't suggest spitting it back out. This is why I would never do well at like a beer tasting or like a wine tasting where you're supposed to like spit in the bucket.
Oh,
because screw that.
Fuck
like
that.
Apparently it's a thing, and I feel bad for the person who has to hold the bucket because God give that person a raise.
I went on a wine tour this summer and people were we were tasting wines everywhere. We were fucking hammered by the end of it. Nice. But people were doing that. Like, if they drank some of the wine, if it wasn't their favorite, whatever, they'd spit it out. I don't think I spat. I definitely didn't spit. And I don't even think I dumped a single glass of wine. Cause I'm like, y'all keep pouring. I'll keep drinking. I don't have to love
this. This is horrible. Chugs it. What's next? Yeah, I don't know. It's like when you go to a bar and it's like, all right, we're getting ready to leave. Finish your beer, please.
Yeah, don't.
For all of us.
Please don't leave it. Respect the beer. And then the final step in tasting beer is doing something called an aspiration. This is where it gets a little bit weird, but it does help. You want to get at those aromas retronasally. So what you would do in this step, if you want to take this extra step and get a little bit more out of your beer, you can take a small amount of the beer, let it warm up on the bottom of your mouth and along the sides of your tongue to kind of warm up in your mouth. Put the tip of your tongue against your front teeth and just basically draw air in through your mouth. Just breathe a little bit, let the liquid kind of gargle in the back of your mouth, swallow it, and then exhale through your nose, and you will get another kind of hit of the aromas off the beer, and you can get more out of it that way, more taste out of it that way.
I would suggest doing this for the first beer of the night, because by beer 4 or 5, let me tell you something, I'm going to go to gargle it and I'm going to drown in it. I'm not going to know what to do.
But the main question at the end of the day, Gabe,
is
like it or not?
Are we going to change the word? Oh, what's up? Go ahead.
Oh yeah. I thought we were going to go on 3.
I thought I never had it.
I never had it.
3.
Thought I had it.
Yes. The biggest question is, do you like it? Is it for you? Maybe not. Maybe so. That is your decision and your decision alone. So that is a little bit of a quick rundown on tips and tricks for drinking the beer and kind of knowing what's going on with it. Like we said, if whether you're just a beer crusher or you're a beer enthusiast, I would consider us to be a little bit of both each. These are quick ways to help you really enjoy the experience, because sometimes it's just, I need a beer. Sometimes it's let's see what's going on in this glass of mine. And
now we are all cicerones. Congrats.
I don't know what that means.
We've all passed the test.
There we go. Okay. Dumb it down for me. Oh. And now Stephen Hughes is ready for a nice little toast.
It's time to raise your glasses. to the best toast we've ever had. Here's to the ladies who lunch. Everybody laugh, lounging in their caftans, and planning a brunch on their own behalf. Off to the gym, then to a fitting, claiming they're fat and looking grim, 'cause they've been sitting, choosing a hat. Does anyone still wear a hat? I'll drink to that.
Godspeed.
Thank you, Steve Sondheim.
Love it. Love it. Absolutely love it.
It may not have been the best toast we've ever had.
But I think every toast is the best toast.
It happened, and listen, here's to the ladies who lunch. You know what I mean?
We all. I feel like we all work. Everyone in this world has a group of people at their office. It's like the ladies who lunch. There's just I don't know how to categorize them, but there's always just a group of like ladies that they're the little clique. And if you try to enter, it's like, hey, can I eat lunch? No.
We've all got them. You know who the ladies who lunch are in your life. You know. You don't have to name them.
I love ladies and I love lunch, so. I don't know where I'm going with that. With that.
Alrighty. 6-point. I'm excited. So we're kicking things off with the crisp, which is a Pilsner. I don't think we've had a Pilsner on the show yet, have we?
Well, according to 6-point, it's a Pilz. So let's respect the name.
Right.
And no, we have not had a Pilsner, I don't believe, on the show yet. So welcome in, Pilsner heads. So
a Pilsner is a lager, a German lager style. And this is kind of a take on that. So 6-point is this kind of mad science brewery, and they like to kind of, respect old styles. Like a few of the breweries that we've featured, they like to, respect old styles, but kind of put their own twist on it. So this is sort of a hop forward Pilsner. It's basically they went to Germany. They have this kind of belief that like German hops that Americans get are kind of the like bottom of the barrel, like whatever's left over in Germany. So they went So they went to Germany to get the Tettnang and Hallertau hops, which are 100% sourced directly from Germany. Put them in here, so they give the crisp a floral aroma. Then they use Cargill Pilsner malt as the backbone to make the finish snappy and clean. So a Pilsner, for those for the uninitiated, a Pilsner is basically what you're drinking when you drink your Bud Lights, your Coors, all of those type things.
And a really cool thing, it takes its name from the Czech city of Pilsen, which was first produced in 1842. I do have to say, sniffing it originally, I know I like this beer, but I am going to be as unbiased as possible. I'm not a fan of the smell. I got to be honest with you. I'm kind of getting like a factory smell, like that hoppy, like we've been churning it out all day in our factory warehouse smell. It
smells like I would expect a Pilsner to smell. It kind of smells like a Budweiser. It's like peppery, earthy. There's definitely some herbal nature to it. You get the sweetness for sure. There's a sweet malt in there. But it smells kind of, I know what you mean. There's something about this style of beer in the aroma that is almost vegetal or chemical. I'm not sure what it is.
I don't know. It makes you second guess, but then you taste it and you think, at least for us, you taste it and you go, oh, okay, no, I'm on board.
I think it's grain. I think that's really what it is, but it's sort of like corn or something like that. It's like, it's or grass. It's something grassy about it.
Yeah. It's definitely got the carbonation and feel of this is gonna sound weird, but it's got the feel of like a typical beer, like a Bud Light or a Budweiser, but just a completely different taste and profile and all that fun stuff. Like it's got the same color, that yellowish golden, definitely see through, very clear,
light yellow, like
light yellow
5.9, very
look
light
to it, and it's. Yeah, when you first taste it, it's not too heavy. It's very, very light and crisp, and then as it goes down, that's when you start to get all of the flavors. For me, I feel it most in the back end.
So the interesting twist on this is that it is a hop forward Pilsner. That's what definitely differentiates this from the traditional sort of German Pilsners that you see. So the hops come through for me in definitely the back end for sure. The first thing you're going to get hit with is the sweet malt, but really quickly it melts away into an earthiness, a hoppiness. It's not really bitter, but it's earthy. And then as it warms in your mouth, it becomes kind of nutty, and maybe even a little bit of like citrus, like dark citrus, like lemon peel or something like that.
I feel like with this beer, it tastes the citrus tastes as if I poured the beer, somebody took a drop of lemon and just dropped it in. So there's just the hint of it. But I mean, that's awesome. It's still very good. This is definitely a crushable beer. 100%. Yeah. This is you're at a picnic or you're at a barbecue and you reach into the cooler and you grab something fun and you're like, yeah, this is good for like a nice summer day out with the fam. Sure, I'll play cornhole and darts.
It is medium-bodied, gently carbonated, definitely has a kind of is big on the tongue. And the back end that it leaves you with is just a lingering bitterness, but it's clean. It's clean. Hence the name, the crisp. You know what I mean? Like it's a clean, easy drinking lager.
You could easily drink this at the gym. Like,
oh yeah, easy. Oh yeah, pumping.
Like you just get off the treadmill, you need some
refreshment.
This is the way to go.
This is the one. It has a Beer Advocate consensus rating of 88, Untapped 3.47, ABV of 5.4%, and an IBU of 44. That is interesting because that's a high number IBU for a Pilsner. So that goes back to what I was saying about those hops, those fresh hops, for the fresh German hops, really shine in this more than they would in your traditional German Pilsner styles.
And I've got just a classic beer mug that I am drinking out of, and it's got a ship on it for all the sea fans.
Yo ho, am I right?
Yo ho, am I right? Pirate's life for all of us. Oh wait. Oh, here we go. On the glass, it's about the Pinta. 75 feet long, it had a crew of 26 men. While in the Bahamas, the Pinta sailed away from Columbus's fleet in search of riches. In January 1493, the Pinta rejoined the Nina on the return voyage to Spain, and there's a map. Wow, I never noticed that before.
Just to be clear, you didn't buy this glass today. You've just always had it.
This was given to me by my brother, and I just, I pour beer into it, and then I drink it. I don't study the glass. It's the way of life,
So Sixpoint Brewing.
Overall, this is a great beer. Yes, let's get into Sixpoint, the place itself.
Do you mind if we get back to the alcohol, Gabriel?
I just said let's get back to it. You're
welcome.
And
your fucking history lesson over here.
Listen,
Jack Sparrow.
We all need to... Hey, I will gladly take that nickname.
Sixpoint Brewing was founded in 2004 in Red Hook, Brooklyn. I have been a fan for many years. They started releasing their canned creations in 2010. I moved to New York in 2014, and they were on the scene, and I quickly became a fan of their Bengali and their Resin, first and foremost. Their OG 4 beers were the Crisp, that we're drinking now, the Sweet Action Pale Ale, which they've now taken to calling an NYC Pale Ale. That's not a real beer style, but they call it that.
Oh, I'm aware. I'm aware.
The Bengali, IPA and the Resin Double IPA. But those were kind of the OGs. Now they have a ton of brews.
Year-round beers, limited releases, small batch, all that fun stuff. We'll dive in a little bit more of that in a bit. This brewery is all about, again, creativity with a hint of science, or science with a hint of creativity, whichever way you want to look at it.
I mentioned earlier their mad science approach to beer. They say they visualize, instead of saying, okay, let's brew an IPA, let's brew a brown ale, right? They visualize what the beer could be, how it could taste, smell, look, and feel, and then they set out through a blend of art and science to create it. It's their creativity, they say, is not shackled to style guidelines, because style simply has no guidelines. So, they're producing beers that, in some senses, like the Bengali is just an IPA. I wouldn't say there's a major twist on it. It's just an IPA. But then they have, tons and tons, and we'll get into all the beers that they have there. But and with every passing day, by the way, like I said, I've been a fan for a while. So they've been around for a while now. They're doing well as a company. They are getting more and more creative every year, and some of the shit that they're pumping out now is crazy.
The way they can their beers.
Like their Atomic Res, New England style triple India Pale Ale. That's their brand new release. I'm sorry, I'm distracted because I just saw a beer on their website called the Party Hat, which is not out yet, or actually it's newly out, but it's a 0 IBU IPA. With no hops whatsoever, Party Hat registers as 0 IBUs. Instead, we blast the back end of this beer with 4 pounds per barrel of dry hopping. This is one of the most flavorful, hop-forward beers ever. But it has 0 IBUs. That's insane.
How do you even, make that? That's what's crazy to me.
You dry hop it. Steven's interested. Okay, sorry, everyone. We're back. We're not drinking that today, but this is the kind of fun stuff you can find at Sixpoint.
Yeah, definitely go check out their site, because they have all this fully listed. We need to talk quickly about the nanokeg, the way in which these beers are canned. Not a traditional beer can, not a traditional 16 ounce, although they do have some beers that are in the traditional 16 ounce. They got the tall, slender nanokeg, as they call it, launched in 2010. Craft beer in a can was kind of random, kind of weird. They wanted to switch things up, and based off of factual evidence, they figured, well, if a keg is the best place to store beer, then a keg for your hand, so to speak, the nanokeg, surely is the second best. So they try to recreate that with every beer they make. And what's really cool is, it definitely makes them stand out. You go into a beer shop, you see the slender can, you know exactly what it is. You don't even need to really look at it, because I don't think a lot of other breweries are even doing this.
No, the idea behind the nanokeg, like you said, is craft beer. It's we kind of take it for granted now that beer in a can is the better way to go versus beer in a bottle. But
yeah, because it used to not be that way.
But even 10 years ago, that was definitely not the thought, because there was a thought that, cans left a can aluminum tint on the flavor of the beer and stuff like that, which is not the case anymore. But so Sixpoint, believed that basically cans are mini kegs. So they have these unique, tall, thin cans. They've coined the term nanokeg for them, and they're just so fun to hold.
Yeah, they're pretty
I just
awesome.
really like having it in my hand. It fits in my hand really nicely. It's like a great can to hold through the night. It just makes you want to keep drinking this beer. I just really love these cans. It's not, I know that's a weird thing to say, but it just fits in your hand really well.
No, it's cool because
there are these vibrant colors too. This one's bright blue.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Each can is just so different, and they really, really pop. Some of this stuff, it's even just the crisp that's got the nice blue color, the resin's got the green. It really makes you. They really do stand out, and for us, especially me, art on a can, as you can tell from the apartment, which we both shared at one point with all the cans on the wall. art really does play a factor sometimes, I would say, especially the people that don't know what they're drinking. They're like, oh, this can's cool. It's got like this on it. And then they grab it and then they love it and blah, 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 blah. You know, I mean, it does play a factor.
Yeah, absolutely. And real quick, before we move on to our second beer, just in terms of visiting Sixpoint, they do not currently have a public tour or tap room, but they are opening one in May 2020 this summer.
Bang! Exclamation point!
Beautiful.
It's coming, Red Hook. Get pumped, get excited. I know I am. Gabe, can I crash on your couch?
Yeah, we gotta go. It's a stone's throw away from my apartment. Not really. It's gonna take a long time on the train, but whatever. We can absolutely go. And real quick, before we move on, I just want to mention something real quick. Sixpoint annually, each year, they team up with collaborators to help create dozens of really cool beers. They are at this place in Brooklyn. It is this organization called Beer for Beasts. Basically, they go to this location in Brooklyn. They share some beer, and 100% of the proceeds of the event go to the Humane Society of New York to help sheltered animals, rather, and animals in need. As an animal lover, I just think this is really cool, and I really wanted to mention it. Again, Beer for Beasts happens in Brooklyn once a year. It's a really cool thing to do.
Do we know when it happens? Like what time of year?
I don't know, just because...
October-ish.
Well, then in October, head down to Brooklyn, support local beer, support the beer, and you could help save an animal's life. And
take a sip, save a pup.
Save a pup, adopt a pup. Let me hold the pup. Let's move on.
We're moving on to the Resin Double IPA.
Beer number 2. We are ready for you.
'Tis one of my favorite beers of all time in New York. This is like if I wanted to just have a good, reliable beer that I could drink, not really have to think about too much, but like have in the fridge, enjoy at any time. This was my go-to beer. I'm a huge fan.
We're gonna give this beer the nickname Old Faithful because it's always come in clutch, especially like, you know, heading to the Upper West Side for a hangout with some friends, and we're going to someone's place, and it's like, oh, we need to bring some beer. I don't know, Resin.
The only thing about this beer is you got to take it easy with it because it will fuck you up.
Yeah, so this beer is 9.1%. I will admit I forgot about that. So I was like drinking it like, oh yeah, this is so good, and then I saw the can and went, oh, I should probably slow down.
This beer will sneak up on you.
It's definitely a solid beer.
So I'm drinking out of a tulip glass. It is
I've got a classic beer mug again.
It pours much darker than the other one, kind of an orangey yellow. It is not okay. Sixpoint doesn't filter any of their beers, so because of that, it's not like clear, but it's definitely not a hazy IPA. This is not a New England IPA. It is a kind of West Coast, very hop forward. Not juicy.
Yeah, I would say it's still pretty clear though. I mean, it's not as clear as the crisp, but I mean, you can definitely see through it. It's got the hint of the citrus flavor to it when taking the first sip. I immediately got hit with orange. I don't know about you.
I haven't even smelled it yet. I'm still looking at it. So it's got I'm just enjoying it. The head is kind of very frothy, eggshell white, and sticks around really well.
Sticks around for a bit, yeah.
And I'm drinking out of a tulip glass, so I don't even have to put my nose that close to it. The aromas just fill the glass. It's mango. It's hops on hops on hops on.
Yeah,
what is that?
This is
hops.
Peter Cottontail's hopping down the bunny trail with this beer.
This is like just a hop forward motherfucker.
And we're not mad about it at all.
Definitely citrus. And it just fills through the glass.
I get a little bit of caramel, not a lot, but like a hint, like another drop worth. You know what I mean?
IBUs, we're looking at 103. It has a beer advocate consensus rating of 92 and on Untapped 3.98, and I'm going in for that sip.
This is a little bit of a stinging tongue situation, but again, not in a bad way. It's just it's strong, and so it'll definitely get the taste buds alive and well. And it's definitely a full body. Like I wouldn't necessarily recommend swishing it around. I mean, you can to get the flavor profile, but maybe just do it once. Let
me just read to you from their website for a second. Do you mind? We remember our first sip of hoppy beer. Do you? Nearly spit that shit out. Now we fantasize about the stuff. Thinking about those hop cones bursting with juice, ripe as all hell, makes you look forward to that resin all day long. Can't wait. Resin slaps you with serious, unfiltered dankness. It stings, but it feels so good at the same time. That is a perfect description of what we're drinking right now. Okay.
I want to do that as a monologue in my next audition. It's just like a full...
The hop bomb, that smell hits through my nose. It just shoots through me down to my fucking knees. I love this smell so much. And it's like the New England IPAs. The New England IPAs don't do it. Like the hazy IPAs, the juicy things that everyone's crazy about right now, that's all well and good, but there's nothing that just fucking fills through me like a bitter hop bomb like this. And it's just like
it just hits you over the head in the best way possible, but it's also great tasting going down. So it's
not for everyone. If you're not into hops, you're not gonna like it, but if you are, it is.
We didn't pronounce this right last time, and I'm going to try to do it now. They've got Chinook and Centennial hops.
No, you still did it wrong.
What is it?
It's Chinook.
Chinook. Okay. Well, son of a bitch. Yeah, but they've got Chinook and Centennial hops. Little old school, but I mean they're there, and the smell and taste of pine as well is very subtle, but there. It's especially in the smell more than the taste.
You get hop candy. It's like you get hit with this sweetness thing, and then the bitterness, because bitterness as a flavor takes a while to settle into your palate. So that kind of happens more and more as it warms. Then it fills through your mouth. Then as you swallow, it kind of shoots through the back of your nose and your sinuses, and it just fills every part of you. It leaves you with an aftertaste of pine, definitely lingering bitterness. They say in nature, bitterness indicates poison. So that first sip of bitter beer doesn't just offend the palate. It actually inspires fear.
What a quote.
The thing is, I can relate to that. Like, okay, I'm not afraid of beer, but like when I go in and I get that first sip, there's something that happens in the center of my core. And the only thing I can relate it to is the feeling of fear. I know that's weird.
There's just that moment of...
Stick with me.
You take a sip, you realize what is in this beer, and then you go, oh, okay, I need to decide how my night is going to go. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of where it comes from. This is a beer that's going to make you need a ride home.
Yes. And it's sticky. Like the lacing in this, it does like linger and like drip down the glass a little bit. Oh, I love this beer so much. So...
this beer makes me want to like achieve all of my hopes and dreams.
So how do you engage with Sixpoint since they don't have a tap room that you can currently visit? Well, the best way to do it is to download the Sixpoint app. It's a free app. It's available on the App Store. And it is the only way to get exclusive can release information. They don't have an open tap room, but they do exclusive brewery can releases at the brewery, and the way to find out when those are happening is to download their app. Also, if you're someone who's not in New York, like moi, and you want to locate their beers, that's a great way to do it. That's how I found these beers, because we knew we wanted to do a 6-point episode. I downloaded their app, just put in, just took a look at their map, and I could see every restaurant, every store in the area that has their beers either for retail or
that's
on
crazy.
Tap, and what beers were there. And here's the thing, it was accurate. Like, it told me what stores had what, and when I went to those stores, those were the beers that were at that store. Like, it definitely...
That's crazy.
It's up to date. So, you know,
They've
out
got
here,
great. Go ahead.
out here, you might be limited to the resin, the crisp, the sweet action. Maybe you can find like a high res here or there. If you're in New York, you can find some of their weirder stuff. You want to go into what they got a little bit in the crazy.
Yeah, so they've got amazing things on tap and draft and available. Like I said, they've got kind of the categories of year-round, limited release, small batch, things like that. You know, they've got their classics of like the crisp, the resin, the NYC Pale Ale. You know, honestly, way too many to name. One thing I did want to highlight is they have a Jammer session pack, and each they just have like a bunch of different jammers on their website. You know, it cycles through. We were looking at the regular jammer, tropical, citrus, ruby, berry, all these different fun flavors coming in the kind of series, so you can, you know, pick up a big variety pack. One thing I did want to mention, they've got something called the Beast Mode Porter. I mean, I would assume Marshawn Lynch drinks this, because why the hell wouldn't he? And each beer, you know, they've got the Sixpoint logo, they've got, you know, all the information about it, and they all kind of have their own individual, like, I would say, kind of clip art looking photo. And
ready?
Beast Mode one.
Let's rapid round. Let's just scroll through these and each back and forth pick out a beer that stands out to us. Ready?
All right. Wait, hold on. And go.
Master Blend Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels.
New England Triple IPA that's served in a 16-ounce can. That's the Atomic Res. It's kind of new.
Righteous Ale. It's a Righteous Barrel aged rye.
Okay, Cloudy Double IPA. It's called Puff Puff.
The Abigail is an Abbey Ale. 8%, 52 IBUs, 14 SRM.
Bizarre Porter 5 Bean. 10%. Come on.
I am in their brewery can release. They got Escape Velocity, which is a 10% beer, and it's a double IPA, New England style double IPA.
Super Key Lime Raspy. Ooh. It's a 8.3. Brewed with key lime, raspberry, and milk sugar. Okay.
And final one from me is the Firecracker. It's an 8% ABV, red, white, and blue fruit. Super refreshing on a hot day with whole bean Madagascar vanilla. Sounds like an adult popsicle.
And the final one for me. Oh, Steven, you'll really like this is for you. You're really gonna like this one. Peanut butter beans, Imperial Porter brewed with chocolate and peanut butter. It's 8.2%. Dude, that's perfect for you.
Oh my god.
Ew.
AKA, they've got a lot of good shit. And they've got countless and endless possibilities. 6 Point, well done.
Check them out. Check them out if you're in New York. Check them out if you're not in New York. And that tap room, again, opening in May 2020. The pictures of it look awesome. They also have an Instagram account for that tap room.
Yes.
I cannot wait to get in there. I don't get excited about going to Brooklyn often, but I think now I have a reason to.
Yeah, Brooklyn's one of I like Brooklyn, but you know, it is kind of far sometimes. But this is one of those moments. It's like, oh no, we're going to Brooklyn, right?
There is some great drinking in Brooklyn, and I think that 6 Point really is the most Brooklyn brewery I've ever encountered. Just the culture of them just says Brooklyn to me. Like Williamsburg, Brooklyn, you know what I mean? Or like Red Hook, where they're from, or like Greenpoint, that Brooklyn, not like
100%. Should we get the hell out of here?
I think we should probably do that.
Okay, let's do that. We've got two, as you guys know, we like to end the episode on a fun little topic, something that caught our eye. We got two little quick things. I'm going to go first. Question for you guys. Does your grandma get low on the dance floor? Because I can tell you whose grandma definitely does, and that's JJ Watt's. JJ Watt, football player extraordinaire for the Houston Texans, recently just got married. Congratulations to JJ, to Kalia Ohai, or Ohai, I don't know how to say her name. She is a professional soccer player. He posted a bunch of photos online on his Instagram account. They look absolutely gorgeous. They are a couple goals in every way possible. He quoted a couple of the photos as best day of my life without question. Good for them. So happy for them. But he posted a video of him and grandma getting low on the dance floor with just a circle of people around them, and they look like they're having the most fun. JJ Watt is one of the coolest people ever, one of the best football players, Walter Payton Man of the Year award. I mean, he raised millions of dollars when Houston was hit with the tragedy of the hurricane. I mean, this guy is awesome, and to see him just breaking it down like that is just the coolest thing in the world. Like, I love it so much.
That's dope. Congrats on getting married, sir.
Does your grandma get low on the dance floor? If she doesn't, what are you doing with your life?
Grandma,
get on it.
The arthritis excuse is getting old. Take to the boards.
Like, grandma, take your shoes off. Let's go.
And let me tell you what caught my eye in my world, just real quick.
Okay.
An employee at a Michigan Wendy's has unfortunately lost his job, and I feel bad for the kid. But so I thought,
did he? Wait, did he like? Was he caught like eating some of the stuff? Like, what happened?
No, he was not eating the food. Which because I thought, what did this poor employee do to deserve being shit? He took a bath in the kitchen sink. Like, that's not the problem. The problem is he posted it to TikTok. Yeah, there is. This comes to us
like an actual bath.
There are suds in the sink. The sink also says power soak. I'm pretty sure they use it to clean their dishes. The kid looks like he's having a delightful time. I just would like to say this comes to us from the delightful news source of TMZ, a paragon of professional journalism. Of course. Yes, several workers actually at the Greenville Wendy's location have been fired after a young male who is definitely shirtless, we don't know what else he's not wearing, was bathing in the fast food joint's sink while laughing with the other employees. The article says he does look fresh, never frozen.
Oh my God. That is unreal. Why? Okay, wait a minute. Listen. I'm not judging anyone who works at Wendy's, but why would you want to bathe there?
It takes balls to take your balls out and hop into the kitchen sink at Wendy's.
How did he fit in it? Was he sitting in it?
He is sitting. Listen, it's a huge industrial sink in which you've worked in restaurants. I've worked in restaurants. You know where they dishwash like the big ass sinks. He's sitting in that. God. It's full of soaks. It's full of soak and suds, and he is laughing it up while other employees, full Wendy's gear, film it, and then he posted it to TikTok. And this is the thing. I used to work at Dunkin' Donuts. We definitely did shit we shouldn't have been doing. Not to this level, but
you didn't post it.
We definitely didn't take pictures of it and post it on social media. And
yeah, that's a video you take and you just keep it in your back pocket, and when you're feeling sad, you break it out. You don't post that somewhere to try to get famous because homeboy's now on his parents' couch. Like, come on, man.
And if we have any listeners in the Greenville, Michigan area, and you frequent Wendy's, just be aware your dishes may have been washed in the dirty bathwater of a teenage boy.
Balls! Oh my God. You have teenage boy all over your chicken sandwich. How does that feel?
Oh, the things we do for love.
You can't trust these hoes. You know what I'm saying?
I saw some shit at Dunkin' Donuts. I mean, I definitely saw other employees. I never did this, but I saw other employees spit on sandwiches, hand them out.
Yeah, see, I was going to ask because I know especially for coffee shops, I know the classic is like, oh, the customer's being a dick, give him decaf. But like, yeah, you actually saw the spitting? That's crazy.
I saw it happen. Hocked a loogie right on the sandwich, covered it up with another piece of bread.
Because the customer was being an asshole?
Customer was being a dick.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it doesn't excuse it. The thing
doesn't excuse it. It's not right, but at the same time, it's like, I'd rather have the reason be the customer was being a dick rather than, oh, I don't know, I was just bored. It's just
no,
like,
I mean,
well,
I worked with a bunch of like Connecticut stoners, and they were just, I don't know, they were just 16-year-olds running a Dunkin' Donuts by ourselves.
Yeah.
It's just like after like that place, after like noon, the owners would leave, or they'd leave at like 11 o'clock in the morning, and no one would ever be there. So you'd come in at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon after high school. I mean, you're 15, 16, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
16, 17, and you just run this joint.
You just have the run-of-the-mill place to yourself. Yeah, that's not okay.
Donuts, food. I mean, we used to,
I would eat everything.
The night lady used to go to the liquor store next door and make herself a little kicked up colada.
Good for... Oh my god. A little kicked up colada?
Strawberry colada with a buzz to it. Throw a little rum in there.
Good for her. I hope she's killing it somewhere.
I'm just telling you facts of the road.
With the Dunkin' Donuts horror stories, we do in fact need to get the hell out of here. Thank you so much again for joining in for round 9. As we always say, please, please, please follow, subscribe, give us those ratings, 5-star or nothing. We are on Twitter. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook. We are on YouTube. Send us an email, thehotpod@gmail.com. We will answer everything we can. Let us know what you want us to drink. We want to do this for you.
Yeah, just keep spreading the word, guys. If you listen, if you like the podcast, tell your friends, tell their friends, tell your friends to tell other friends, and tell friends far and wide. Tell people that aren't your friends, actually. If you could just stand on the street and tell strangers.
Scream it at a stranger's face.
That'll work too.
For it.
Because at the end of the day,
thing.
The more people come to us, the more we will be here for you. So engage with us, follow us, all that fun stuff. We are gonna roll.
I am not sober, and I love it.
Thank you, guys. Have a great week. We will see you in March.
Everybody love everybody.